San Damiano. I'm not sure. The others might be for North Point. Yeah, good. Okay, I would like to call to order the Monday, March 3rd meeting of the City of Monona City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alder DePula. Here. Alder Humphries. Here. Alder Moore. Here. Alder Wood is excused. Alder Rademacher.
Here.
Alder Bernstein.
Here.
Mayor O'Connor.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if anyone would like to speak, please fill out one of these forms that are on the table at the back of the room. I do have one from Wes that looks like somebody's magic marker was playing on it also, but not your fault, Wes. Anyway, we'll move on. Approval of minutes. Aline just distributed a couple of sets of minutes. We have December 16th closed and open sessions, and then the February 17th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any corrections or additions? Comments, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. So no one else wants to speak? And Wes is going to speak when his item comes up. Okay, there are no appearances, there is no public hearing. We have 4 items on the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to council action items. 1A, under unfinished business, consideration of resolution 25-2-2778, approving a general development plan, GDP, for approximately 1208 through 1212 East Broadway by North Point Development Corporation, put forth by the Plan Commission. And is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Plowman?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. This is the second read on the general development plan from North Point Development Corp. This is over at East Broadway and would be an age-restricted housing development. Joined this evening by Sean Ryan, representing the developer. So we're happy to answer any questions.
Is anyone, Rick?
I understand there's 2 companies working here, North Point and Selassie. Is that right?
So, yes, correct.
And
for 15 years because the person or company that buys the, whoa, that's really loud. Should I back up?
Just to, yeah, you're good.
You're good. Let's just use Lake Ridge Bank as an example because they purchased the tax credits on our first project. Lake Ridge Bank.
okay.
So Lake Ridge Bank buys the tax credits, which then provides the equity to help build the project. In return for these tax credits, we tell the state of Wisconsin that we're going to set aside units and rent and income restrict them. So that's the trade-off. So for the tax credit compliance period, which is 15 years, Lake Ridge Bank on our first project owned 99.99%, and that's to allow them to make use of the tax credits over that 15-year period, along with depreciation losses and everything that they're buying. Then after 15 years, they'll exit out of the partnership, and then North Point Development and Selassie will own the project as we're long-term holders. So in the WIDA tax credit program, they emphasize emerging developers to partner on projects. So in the case with Selassie Development, we were working with them to kind of show them the ropes of development, get them involved. They help us with finding our tax credit investor, working through the tax credit applications, other debt applications, and bring them along through the process so that down the road, 3 to 5 years, they can start turning in tax credit applications on their own.
So the 2 of you will own 100% after 15 years?
Yep, so we'll own 0.01%, of which Selassie Development will own 24%, which is part of the WIDA tax credit program.
Okay. And then both of you will stay involved with the project there on out?
It's possible that Selassie Development may sell their portion of the managing member to North Point Development, but North Point Development would stay on. North Point Development makes all the guarantees on these projects, all the, decision-making that, sign off on all the decision-making that deals with operations. And basically, it's the North Point Development that's the face of the project to make sure everything goes as planned.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then I did have one other update that I wanted to share. This body had asked about our conversations with CARB-C as it relates to the positioning of the building. And at the last meeting, we had said, well, we're working with them. We do have to encroach over the 75-foot setback that they require for environmental corridors and wetland protection. They did email me today and said that, our plan, which allowed us to shift the building a little bit further away from the sidewalk, which was at the request of Plan Commission, would be acceptable, and that, they look forward to, us working on this project. As you may know, there's a gravel driveway right real close down to the stream. They also gave us permission to remove that, to make the whole area, for the better, especially for the wetlands. So just to update that where we are planning to put the building would be acceptable to CARB-C.
Anyone else have any questions? No? Well, hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Humphreys.
Aye.
Alder Moore.
Aye.
Alder Rademacher.
Aye.
Alder Bernstein.
Aye.
Alder DePula.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Have a nice
Thanks.
night.
Looking forward to it. Moving on to item 1B, consideration of Resolution 24-11-2753, a resolution to vacate Angle Street in the city of Monona, put forth by the Public Works Commission, or committee. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, and this is something that was actually on the agenda back in December?
Yes.
Is that right?
that-
Related to the Topgolf development?
Yes, that's correct. So this request this evening would be to vacate a portion of Engel Street heading east of Gisholt. It's associated with the Topgolf development that's moving forward. And so this sort of comes along with the certified survey map, the reorientation of some of the lots over there. And this would be required for that to move forward. So I'm joined this evening by a representative from Veerbecker, who is the site civil for this as well, and they can certainly run through a little more detail.
Yeah,
Thanks.
next step, thanks Doug. Next step to get the CSM kind of going, vacate Engel Street to allow our development, reorientate the lots, and further that development. If there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Does anyone have any questions? Nancy, did you?
No.
Okay, well, if there aren't any questions.
Mayor?
Sorry,
Oh, I'm
if I
sorry,
may.
Doug.
I know the surveyor that was working on this afternoon had shared some possible concerns about, I believe, the pole location as it relates to some of the easements that would be there. So that the city, because there are utilities beneath this portion of Engel Street, would retain easements for that. So I think there was a concern with the potential overlap there. So if the council so wishes tonight, the request would be kind of coordinating with city staff and the city attorney to just address those moving forward. So I think the suggestion that was given late this afternoon was that there's sort of an agreement that this be worked out, that they may possibly locate, for example, holes or some built structures within that area. But again, subject to final approval from staff and city attorney. The reason for this is I know this is critical to recording the CSM, to closing, it's sort of a sequential effect. So the request, if we may, if council would consider, would just be an administrative, consideration for that element. But it wouldn't change any of the vacation. It would simply just be the easements and sort of the ability to build within that area.
So it shouldn't make any difference when we're discussing tonight in terms of approving it tonight.
Correct. It's really a clarification.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mayor, I guess I would just recommend that it's contingent upon Director Plowman and city attorney's approval. Whatever motion gets made, is
Okay,
that subject to their final okay?
okay, so do we want to have a amended motion, or,
I think that would be preferred, please.
okay. Someone like to, Nancy, would you like to make?
I would be happy to make an amendment to, for this vacation to be subject to Planner Plowman's and the city attorney Bill Cole's approval or direction.
Is that enough?
That's perfect, I think.
Doug? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the amended motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now moving back to the original motion. Any further discussion on that? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to new business, we have a couple of things that are started for immediate approval. Item 2A, consideration of Resolution 25-3-2780, a resolution recognizing World Migratory Bird Day, put forth by the Parks and Recreation Director. First of all, is there a motion to take this out of order?
Motion to take this out of order.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Did you want to talk-
Director Anderson is unavailable to answer questions, so.
Okay, Jake, did you have anything to explain?
No, this is our annual application process to receive our Bird City, Wisconsin status. It is started for immediate action because the deadline to apply has been moved up till March 15th. Normally it's after the International Migratory Bird Day in May. We're very fortunate to have Monona resident Mary Morrell work with Friends of San Damiano and do a bird event up at San Damiano the last couple of years, and it will be there again this year. So we're very appreciative of that, and you're always welcome to go to Bird City, Wisconsin website, and you can review our application, all the things that are included in the packet. We're pretty close to, according to Assistant Director Miller, achieving the next level of designation. So we're going to continue to work on some of the requirements with public education and documentation of all the things that we do to provide for bird habitat in the city, and look forward to the next level for potentially this year's application.
And in this case, sometimes we just read resolutions. In this case, it's something we're required, council is required to vote on. Is that correct?
Correct.
I think. Okay. Any questions, anyone?
I just have a general question for Director Anderson. For those who might be listening or watching, can you just, off the top of your head, one or two benefits that come to Monona for being a bird city?
Well, it's used in some grant applications when you're looking at providing more habitat that you're designated as a bird city. It certainly meets with our sustainability goals and plan that we have, and it is a component of our park and open space plan as well, increasing criteria for when we go to a plan approved with the DNR.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item is also started for immediate approval. Item 2B, consideration of Resolution 25-3-2784, approving a correction instrument to remove Wisconsin DOT requirements placed on CSM 10267. This is put forth by the Director of Planning, and I'm sorry I forgot last time to have Jake explain why we're asking for immediate approval. So Doug, would you like to explain that?
Yes, absolutely. So the reason for this is, again, this is tied to the closing for the developer of the proposed Topgolf site. Looking to close on that, I believe, by March 14th, so before the next council meeting. So just sort of a timing sequencing matter for that. This has been reviewed by the city attorney as well. So that was the reason for the request for one read.
So is there a motion to take this out of order?
Motion to take this out of order.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Doug?
Thank you. So the request here is, again, this is tied to the Gisholt Drive site, the future Topgolf. The correction instrument here is to address the existing certified survey map prior to the new one being recorded. On the previous CSM, or the one that's currently in effect, there was a DOT, Wisconsin DOT setback that was shown on there, which was subsequently ruled to be unlawful. So it's kind of a cleanup item. That filing this correction instrument would allow that to be removed. And then, of course, it would not be in place moving forward either. So the correction instrument has already been signed by a representative from the state DOT in sort of mid to late January. And the request here would be, again, for the city to sign off on their part, removing this. And again, I don't know if there's anything else. Nothing else?
Nailed it, Doug.
Great, thanks.
Any questions for Doug? Nancy?
Since it was a DOT matter, pray tell, who was it deemed to be illegal by? By the state, I mean,
I believe that it was the state Supreme Court. And this was a statewide, this was not just
Oh,
this,
okay.
but it was all of these instruments. Oh, sorry, all of these setbacks, not just this one specifically, but all of those across the state.
okay, got it, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, if there aren't any further questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 2C, consideration of Resolution 25-3-2785, approving a request for partial release of public utility easements at approximately 5600 Gishel Drive, also put forth by the Director of Planning and also starred for immediate approval. So Doug, if you'd like to
Move to take this out of order?
explain, why we should take this out of order.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So the request here again, same timing issues on this one. The applicant would like to have these cleaned up prior to the recording. I believe prior to the recording of the CSM, but again, it's sort of a, one will follow the other, so that 3/14 deadline is really the reason for that. I will note that this will be going to Public Works Committee on the 5th as well, and I'll address that in a second, but they were the reasons for the one read.
Is there a motion to take this out of order?
Motion
Sorry.
to take this out of order?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval?
Second.
Any questions? Or Doug, do you want to explain about, I guess you should explain a little bit first.
Thank you. So the request here is to clean up some of the utility easements again. We're going from a situation with the proposed CSM where there's sort of a different owners involved here. There would have been the Engle Street portion as well. So different utilities that have easements associated with them. The request here would be to release those. Of course, there would still be the right, beneath Engle Street for the city to have easements for those utilities, and any future easements would be granted as well. But this would really be a cleanup moving forward. Because it is a public utility easement, this needs to go to both Public Works Committee as well as City Council. And just with the timing of that, we do have this on the agenda for Wednesday for the upcoming Public Works Committee meeting. So staff would request any action from council this evening be contingent upon Public Works Committee, please.
So it sounds like we'll need an amendment to this as well, is that?
I think just to make sure that contingency is added, Mayor, that would be.
So would someone like to make that motion?
Nobody else does. I'll be happy to make an amendment that is contingent upon approval by the Public Works Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now we're back to the original motion. Or do we have a motion? Yeah, we do, right? Any further questions about the motion as amended? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to our final item, consideration of Resolution 25-3-2786, approval of a memorandum of understanding between the City of Monona and the Friends of San Damiano regarding the use, management, maintenance, and future development of San Damiano, put forth by the City Administrator. And before we start this, I'm going to ask Wes would like to say something, and then Neil, I think, has some introductory remarks to make.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Council, it was
I
about,
guess if you'd like to identify yourself just for the audience.
happy to. My name is Wes Mossenblock. I'm the president of the Friends of San Damiano. And it was about, I think about a year ago that we sat here and the master plan for San Damiano was approved by council, which was a wonderful event. And as part of the master plan, the document outlined and recommended a preferred delivery method for the master plan. And that was to continue the public and private relationship in order to advance the plan. And since then, it's been a major priority for the Friends and myself over the last year to work on that relationship. We've been working, Neil and the mayor and Bill and I, since the summer to get to where we are today, the document you have. And I want to thank Mayor, you and Neil and Bill for all of that time. Wasn't always exactly a straight line, but I think it was a very healthy set of discussions where we outlined and got to discuss, I think, a lot of the factors that were going to make this project, this endeavor, successful. And I think we're in a really good place with the MOU, the document you have today. Before I comment specifically on the MOU, I do want to provide a brief update on some of our progress that the Friends has made over the past year. And you know, I sit here representing our board of directors, our committee members, hundreds of volunteers, and nearly 1,000 donors that are all pouring in their time and their treasure in support of our mission and our vision. You can access on our website our annual report for 2024. I encourage you to do that, but I want to make note of just a few highlights. Last year we raised $367,000 that exceeded our goal for the year. And of that total, $170,000 was raised as the fiscal agent and partner for the Harry Whitehorse Festival, which our work to support the festival was a huge priority for the year, and I think it was an overwhelming success and a wonderful week of events. And it was, again, supporting the festival was one of our primary goals. We provided 9 public programs and community events throughout the year. Other initiatives that we advanced were to expand our board of directors, anticipating the roles outlined in the MOU that you've read. We're now a board totaling 12. We've added expertise in the areas of fundraising, horticultural and landscape management, architecture, and legal services. There are 6 board committees now that we support, including over 30 committee members and key volunteers. Like I said, our donor base is nearly 1,000. We need like 5 more, I think, Julie, is that right? So we can hit 1,000 tonight if we need to. But over 214 community members have volunteered at San Damiano over the year. I also want to mention that last year we secured a Madison Community Foundation grant that will help us build financial capacity to hire our first executive director, which will be essential for the future and is a good segue back to the MOU. So the MOU, in my mind, it's an essential document from my experience in public and private endeavors. And it's essential for launching and succeeding with a big project. So we have a big project on our hands. That's a master plan that's got a price tag of around $11 to $14 million, but it's going to be more than that if you think about all the work that has to go into realizing that. So to succeed moving forward, we together, the city as owners and the Friends of San Damiano as operators, not only do we have to create a vision that's compelling, but we need to create a business model that will allow us to realize the shared vision. And that business model must lay out clear authorities, responsibilities, and processes for our ongoing cooperation and collaboration. It needs to ensure that the city has the necessary oversight and can maintain the obligations that it has, and it must enable the Friends to operate independently in a manner consistent with the master plan. And so all of those conditions are really essential for an effective and an efficient operation, but they're also essential for the successful launch and completion of a major capital campaign that's required in the future. We need to have a model that makes sense so that we can go out and compel private investment to invest in that model, philanthropic investment. And our donors need to be confident that we can fulfill the promises we're making and promises that show up in the master plan, but also the team that we're putting in place to get that done. So the MOU, this it really outlines our agreed upon approach for this. It gives us clarity where our roles they start and stop. And it provides us as the group responsible for raising the money, going out and making the promises, fulfilling the promises, sufficient authority to do that. And I think provides the necessary checks and balances from the city perspective as well. Finally, it creates the conditions for us to grow our capacity. When I think about hiring an executive director into our organization, this is the type of document and framework that will be essential for, for us to attract the talent we want to come in, do this work, and be successful. So for all those reasons, very much in support of the MOU as presented, and I know this is a first read. I'm happy to answer any questions, and also please reach out at any time on an ongoing basis too about our work. So.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
And thank you for all the time you've put in.
Yeah.
This also, it's definitely been a group effort for many, many months, and we really put the push on it that I want to get this done before I leave office, and I think we're almost there. So Neil, you have, I think, a few things to say, and I think Neil sent a memo about this to everyone this afternoon.
Yep, this was just simply Alderwood, unfortunately not feeling under the weather today, but had asked for just kind of a summary memo that kind of put it a little bit more of a quick synopsis of what was in the agreement. So essentially, we make the statement that the original MOU was really tied to the creation of the master plan, and had always indicated that this was the next step. Kind of an additional MOU or an amended MOU was always kind of the plan. So this is kind of where we're coming in here tonight with the second MOU. I think the difference specifically between this one is this greatly, I think, kind of moves forward not only the mission and objectives of the Friends, but also of the city, and trying to attempt to actually implement the master plan as it has been adopted. There's a lot of things in here. As we started this process, there's lots of different details and getting down into the weeds. We were starting to kind of debate and go into realizing that some of those things, probably for at least this initial plan, they did not need to be in this MOU, but in future agreements and plans, we could proceed and pursue on those things. So capital fundraising plan, the charitable naming and recognition policy, the revenue generating activity plan, a programming activity plan, a maintenance plan, an operational plan, improvements plans, if we get to a point where we actually are going to be making substantial physical improvements to the property. Those are all anticipated as part of the current MOU. In terms of those needing to be kind of created as we go forward. It is, I want to emphasize, I think the importance, and I think, Wes certainly stated this. This is a critical document for the Friends to be able to share with prospective donors, to demonstrate that they are in partnership with the city, and that this is a relationship that we've got going on, a public-private relationship that we have had in place, and we are continuing to move forward with. So we kind of really wanted to get into identifying clear, I think the exact phrases were authorities, responsibilities, and processes for ongoing cooperation and collaboration. I believe is the phrase that's right out of the MOU. There are 8 sections within that document. Those are outlined briefly in your memo. That is the nature of the relationship between the city and the Friends, the fundraising campaign, revenue generation, programming activities, maintenance on the property, operations concerning the property, future development of the property, and communications are the key sections, all within the agreement. And I'm not certainly going to go through and read each one of those for everybody, because they are available for folks to take a look at. So with that, I do want to certainly echo Wes's comments. Very much appreciated the effort that he and the Friends have done in putting this together, and making a lot of commitments and a lot of work still to be done, but obviously getting this in, and this is the first time I really feel there is a clear framework for going forward, and I think that's a huge step in the relationship of in moving this project forward. So with that, certainly able to answer any questions, as I'm sure.
And I would just add that this whole MOU is kind of focused around the implementation of the master plan, and that's the ultimate goal, which we did approve here. So in the last sentence of Neil's memo, while it allows the Friends to operate in the areas above, it requires that they seek approval of the city administrator or the council and appropriate city committees wherever required by city ordinance or policy. So we're not going to be in there micromanaging every single thing, but they will be following what every other group has to do, when they would like to do something in Monona, if they have to get permission for something, whatever the ordinance says. So, and we've agreed on that. Neil will be the primary contact, but he will, if it needs to go to a certain committee or or the council or whatever, make sure that it gets shepherded through those different bodies. So, Wes, do you have anything else to add?
No, in addition to that, I think a key piece is an annual planning process.
Right.
So there's, every year we'll be presenting our plans for the next year, and it'll be very transparent and clear.
And sometimes that it just may be a list. I mean, a list of events, or, it's not a 3,300-page plan for
I was
every
gonna say, we
single
certainly
item in this.
won't tell Wes and friends that they don't have to do a 300-page document, but, I think maybe 1 to 2 is probably gonna cover
Yeah.
most of these.
It just depends on what information we need for that year, so. Any questions for Wes or Neil or me, or?
Neil, I didn't get that memo, but it sounds to me like maybe that should be an attachment to the MOU.
It was just an email.
Yeah, it was, okay, it did go out to the full council.
It went out just
Alder,
this
so we'll have to
afternoon.
double check that. It was this
Looking in the
afternoon.
email.
Okay, we'll have to double check.
Okay.
Might be a problem with your email, because it certainly went out to the full council email. And actually, and in terms of, I wouldn't say it necessarily has to be an attachment, because it is literally a synopsis
Yeah.
of the actual MOU. The MOU is,
But that line you just mentioned, how it will have to go through all the various.
It says that in the
It's-
MOU,
that is also,
Yeah.
it's already indicated in the MOU agreement. Correct.
but I think certainly include the memo in the packet next month. or
Yeah,
in
well, we
2
can certainly
weeks.
include that
Yeah.
in the actual packet, absolutely, but yeah, we'll have to double check that. That could be an IT issue, Alder. We're not sure why that's the case, so.
Any other questions, comments, anyone? No?
Just congratulations.
Thank you. Right. It still needs to be voted on, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
One more read, that's right, it's one more read.
I showed my hand.
But still, getting, right, I think it's more congratulations for getting to this point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think this is a good way to handle it,
yeah.
to come up with a plan each year, so. Well, I guess if there aren't any other questions, this will come back in 2 weeks. And anybody who has any questions in the meantime, feel free to contact Neil or I or Wes.
Absolutely.
Okay? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you all for coming.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Let's see, moving on. We are through the action and non-action, both the unfinished and new business on the agenda, so moving on to reports of committees, commissions, et cetera. Alder Bernstein,
No report.
Alder Rademacher.
Oh,
That doesn't sound good.
No, today's a huge day in Monona, but I'm going to save the fire for Nancy.
Thank you.
Transit Commission.
Thank you.
Which I co-chair with Alder Moore. So I'll just jump forward to the other committees. Tourism, really simple, just anybody who's listening, April 4th is the next deadline to get your submission in. If there's an event that you're a part of that's going to bring folks to Monona, and ideally an event that's going to put them in our hotels, just please go to the My Monona website and look for the Tourism Commission information there. Landmarks, another committee I'm a part of, had a meeting this weekend with one of our commission members. We're starting to really plan in earnest for our walking tour, the first of its kind walking tour to celebrate National Historic Preservation Month, which is in the month of May. So we've got May 22nd on our calendar. We'll have 2 walking tours hitting, half a dozen local places of significance here in Monona. And maybe even a little kickoff event the night before. So more details on that will be coming soon. May 22nd is the date. We're partnering with the Madison Historic Trust and getting a lot of information from them, a lot of templates that they've already created rather than reinvent the wheel, how to train docents, just everything they've already got that we can borrow, which is wonderful.
Is that in the evening, or?
It'll be, I think there's 2 days. One will maybe be in the evening and one in the afternoon, and I can't remember the second
so it's
day.
not just the 22nd.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next, I will jump to sustainability. There's just a lot of really great projects going on in that committee, from energy analysis policy at the university, working with some students. Thor has met with that group a couple times, and they've got some reports that'll be presented soon. I know that, Alder Bernstein, did you want to say something about Madison? No? Nothing new? Okay. Alder Bernstein's been working with the Madison group to, make people aware of that program before those tax credits go away. The Monona Tree program wrapped up its pilot, so we hit a really great milestone. The last day in February was the deadline to order trees for April delivery. Trees for delivery in next year, April, can be ordered, in the next coming months. But for April 2025 delivery, the deadline was end of February. And if you didn't know about it, that's okay, because it really wasn't advertised greatly, because it was just a pilot program to sort of prove a concept. We kept everything super small. We hit our goal of getting more than 20 trees ordered. And now we will be regrouping with representatives from Parks and Public Works and the Sustainability Committee, and just trying to figure out, like, how do we move forward now with the logistics of getting the trees delivered, and then promoting it really more heavily so that we can really start the full-blown program. So I had a site visit from our city forester. It was just lovely. He takes his job so seriously and gave me such a thorough analysis, and really very helpful in helping to determine the tree. I know that our mayor ordered a tree, so we'll have those coming up soon in April. And then, as part of our committee reports, I know we're encouraged to talk about DEI and sustainability, so I will say just quickly about something about DEI that happened recently: diversity, equity, inclusion. I'm reminded that when we talk about DEI, we should really say the entire phrase: diversity, equity, inclusion, because the acronym is becoming meaningless. It's really just becoming a target that signifies something that people may not even realize it signifies. So there was something that happened, kind of got my attention. If you're a user of Google Maps, you may find that some awareness days are no longer on your calendar, like Holocaust Remembrance Day, not on the calendar. Women's History Month, Black History Month, Pride Day, Pride Month, no longer on the calendar. So you can Google, if you want to find out when those days are, you can just Google up something to the effect of awareness days, which is a phrase that'll bring those back up for you, and then you can manually add them back to your calendars. Kind of unfortunate there. And then, as far as just general sustainability, I will sort of segue into the big news of the day. Public transportation helps lower our emissions significantly. It also helps with bringing affordable and reliable transportation to people of all backgrounds, and it really helps level the playing field. And I am so happy that today we had the first bus in Monona. It was wonderful, very beautiful. End of my reports.
Thank you.
Transition over to Ms. Moore to
Moore,
take the
you're
show.
up. Well, I before I get to transit, let me just a couple of other things here. One is on Friday the 21st, yet another San Damiano event that took a lot of work from our fire department. and other staff members just around getting heat into the house. And from the Friends of San Damiano. It was worth the effort. We had an event, Friends of San Damiano had an event called Fire and Wonder for 2 hours on the 21st. And that event featured a bonfire and Ho-Chunk storytelling in the house by Janice Rice, who's a very well respected UW librarian emeritus and member of the Ho-Chunk Nation, and we had snowshoes there for those people that wanted to snowshoe, and we had other fire pits around the property, and had lit and a pathway all the way through the woods to the ice with candles. And so the property really set up very nicely, and we had 200 people there. So it turned out to be a really fantastic event. There was standing room. We had to keep inside the house to 49 people. So and Janice did 3 storytelling sessions, each 20 minutes long, and we had people standing in a line waiting, drinking hot cocoa or cider, which we provided. To get into the next session. So it was a very successful event, and again, a nice partnership with the Ho-Chunk Nation, Ho-Chunk members. Second, before I get to today, yesterday, Teresa and I were pleased to be able to attend a gathering that was held by those that have been riding the bus, the Monona Express, and the lift for the last 20 plus whatever years we've had it. And they had that gathering to extend gratitude to the drivers that have been taking such good care of residents of Monona. And we went to that event, and it was a lovely outing. And Ivana, for those of you that may know the drivers or know of the drivers, made a cake, and even had a cutout of the Monona Express bus stuck in the center of the cake. And I was able to wave a magic wand and come up with some Monona T-shirts for each of the drivers to express our gratitude. And as we all know, the transition to Madison Metro had nothing to do with the quality of the service or the care that those drivers have given Monona residents. So it was just terrific to be there, and all of the riders that were there to extend their thanks were also jumping with excitement over Metro starting today. And so today, I don't have the numbers because the bus was still rolling when I rolled into the library tonight. But I do know that it was a good morning, because my Facebook page was bouncing all morning with just everybody that was at that event actually was on the bus today, on the Metro today, and taking pictures and sending messages saying they got downtown lickety split and how easy it was and all of that. So and at 5 a.m. this morning, actually at 4:30 a.m. this morning, I was at City Hall to meet up with Channel 27, who did broadcasts at 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and 6:30. And actually, I think they went beyond that. But I was there for that and waited for the first bus to come through at 6:11 to the stop right out here next to the library. And Mick Roosh, who is the director of development for Madison Metro that we've been working with since the beginning of December, came as well. He drove from Wanakee, so he didn't. I told him I would take the early shift, and I did. But he got here before 6. so that he could do the 6 and the 6:30. And then I'm pretty sure the reporter asked him to stay longer because she thought they might like another spot for the 11 a.m. broadcast as well. So I was able to get home and watch the rest of the broadcast, and they were giving a really nice lead about the whole thing and a nice chat about Monona before they went to the
Good.
reporter on site. So I think it was great coverage. And tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Channel 15 will be here to also do interviews, and Mick and I will both be there at 11 to meet up with them. Same bus stop. Gives us an opportunity to talk about the city center and everything that residents can get to here. So I would say it was a very good day. I know Mark was here really early as well. I was surprised. I didn't think he was going to be here, but he was. And he actually drove around and followed the bus.
Did he?
Yeah, because he was curious, whether there was anybody standing ready to get on the bus. And he said that he actually saw, and this was also reported by people that were on the bus, that he said there were quite a few people at stops this morning, for no doubt for some commuters. And just to give you an idea, one resident who is a regular rider on our express, who works at the university, and of course we all know there's quite a few people in Monona that work at UW, as there would be in any other community. He said the university subsidizes all but $48 a year for people to take the bus. So just think about the difference.
It's a deal.
If, in comparison to taking our express with no subsidy at all, because of course we're too small for that. So it makes a huge difference. Anyway, so Mark followed them around. He said that there were quite a few people, and Bill said the same thing, that there were quite a few stops, quite a few people at the stops. So, and we have Madison Metro will be at the high school tomorrow at lunch hour, the 2 lunches that they have, to be registering students and encouraging people to get their fast fare cards. And last but not least, as of the end of last week, we had 30 seniors that had successfully enrolled in paratransit.
That's great.
So they're already available to them as well. So it's a big day.
And I believe we had people stopping in getting passes at City Hall today too. We had several stop-ins.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and Mark said that there were, last week, he said that there were 10 or 12 already, and you had some more today. That's great. Awesome.
And I saw some people out standing on Monona Drive at a G route
Yes.
sign
Nice.
waiting to be picked up today.
Yeah, and Mick
midday.
would tell you that, Metro, for quite some time, it's part of the reason why they wanted to be here. I mean, we're getting pretty regular phone calls from people saying, I want to get to Monona, can I get to Monona? And then they would say, they felt like the demand is there, and definitely on Monona Drive.
Yeah.
They were getting phone calls about as well, so that's great.
Well, they finally lowered their price enough to open those doors, and it works for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Well, thank you, and thank you for being up at the crack of dawn.
sure.
Also. Alder Holmquist,
No report.
Alder DePula.
Public Safety Committee met last week, and basically, we went over the emergency operations plan, which will be recommended to the council soon. And we also discovered that we lost some grant funding, about 50% of the grants for the speed grant and the seatbelt compliance grant. So the committee was thoughtful, and it was the will of the committee to try and restore that money from those matching grants, which amounted to be about $3,400. So something will likely come to council for that.
Okay.
So.
And that was due to the funding source.
Yep, due to the funding source.
Everybody's grants were cut, it wasn't
Yep.
just us.
No, it was 50%, yes.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it has to do with the federal cuts or what, but
Yep.
if it does, I'm sure this is only the first of many things we'll be seeing.
They were surprised that those grants were cut. Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
The committee was surprised?
No, the chief was
Yeah,
surprised.
Chief was
Chief was
surprised.
surprised.
Mhm.
Yeah. Neil, did you have?
Just a couple of notes. I think I let certainly send a note out this afternoon, or this, I think it's around midday, to council. Our code enforcement officer submitted their resignation this past weekend. We've been kind of working with them on some kind of follow-up with the last snow event that we had in terms of some areas that we felt needed some additional enforcement. So just wanted to know, so even though that position is currently vacant, residents can still submit their concerns and complaints still through the same method. That will be either forwarded to either Director Plowman or myself until we kind of get that system adjusted right now. So please continue, if you hear of any concerns, or please have them continue to submit anything they have through the traditional means. It will get to the right people to be addressed accordingly. So please make sure and do that. We had some specific complaints regarding, I guess, maintenance of the Bloom construction site. We've had several staff go out there and take a look at it. We didn't feel there was any real issues out there, but we have forwarded and just kind of reminded the developer to kind of keep an eye on things and just let us, appreciate it in terms of litter and parking, those types of things. We've kind of asked them to just certainly be aware of it. They've actually been a great partner and been very responsive. So we really have only one complaint, but we did forward that on to them and asked them to kind of keep an eye on that as we go. And I think that's it at this time. So,
Mr. Plowman, I should have asked you. Do you have any news?
nothing going on.
Vacation?
You're going on vacation,
Come on,
right?
vacation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, enjoy.
He wants to go celebrate with all of his Irish cohorts down in Savannah, Georgia. So
Ah,
he didn't realize it was probably the largest St. Patrick's Day celebration in the United States.
in
And
Savannah?
he's going down there the week of.
I guess
Savannah,
I did not
Georgia.
know that either.
One of
Yeah.
the few places during the famine in Ireland that was still accepting Irish immigrants. So it is 700,000 people, Doug? Is that the number that come down for the St. Patrick's Day parade?
Should
It's
be
an
a really
enormous
nice,
thing.
quiet vacation.
Right. So we were
Wow.
giving him a little bit of a hard time. So he might have to leave his
Well, that'll be restful, yeah.
his British soccer things at home, his football things at home for that week. So
Aline, did you have anything?
Yes, absentee ballots for the April 1st election will be here next week, going out by Tuesday. And then in-person voting at City Hall is the week March 18th through the 28th, weekdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then there'll be additional hours on the 22nd from 8 to noon.
So that's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yep.
It starts.
here we
Wow.
go.
I just had a couple of things. Leah sent you all the yearly letter about which of your committee members' terms are up. I noticed Rick just sent information about his. If you could get that information to me by the 15th, because Alder Moore and I have just been discussing how to handle this during the transition, and we want to know which spots we need to be looking for people to fill. And then I guess I just also want to thank everyone again who was involved with the Metro grand opening or coming to Monona. This is, I think, I had my first meeting with Madison Metro, my first year as mayor, 8 years ago about this. And so it's been a long time coming, and it's very exciting. So thank you all for all your work. I know you really put in a lot of time.
And it was just so, I almost missed it. I mean, just walking down just to catch you at the tail end this morning, it was so quiet. It just pulled up smoothly and quietly.
Yep.
There was nothing, no emissions, no sound.
Yeah.
It was just absolute, this really lovely bus. It was just very nice, yeah.
Well, good. I still haven't seen it, and it's right down the corner of my house, and I didn't see it at all today. Okay, we have 2 appointments. Alex Fortney to the Community Media Committee, effective immediately. That only goes through April because he's completing someone else's term, but then he'll be up for reappointment in April. And Dr. Tanya Frederick to the Library Board. This is the school district appointment. She's decided that she wants to get her mind off of school district finance, I think, once a month, maybe. And so she would like to serve as representative. So she's being appointed to the Library Board, effective immediately. And that term runs through June of 2026. So is there a motion to approve those appointments?
I would move to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say